Hey moms, put your kids in timeout or down for a nap. Grab your cup of coffee, sit back and relax. It's time for Momnesia, mothering like a mofo. Good afternoon and welcome to the first live broadcast of Momnesia. I'm your host, Jinx Scott, of course, with my co-host, Krista Garza.
Hi, everyone.
And we are in here, like I said, for the first time. We've done this podcast on our own, some separate recordings and stuff. So this is our first time actually getting into the studio and doing this live for you guys. So hopefully we've got some great topics for you. Jada Butler is going to be joining us in a little bit too. And our topic for our first live show, we've decided to go with insomnia. I think that's something that we as moms or parents in general all deal with, right?
Absolutely.
We always have those days where we just don't get enough sleep. And it starts from when you first have a baby or even before. I don't know about for you, Krista, but for me, I had a lot of trouble sleeping the month leading up to my daughter being born just because she was in my backbone, like seriously, and then trying to come out through my ribs. It was ridiculous. So it felt like an exorcist kind of situation. I don't know.
And the dreams too. You cannot forget about the pregnancy dreams. Oh,
I never had weird dreams.
You didn't?
No.
Oh my God. No, I had the weirdest dreams. And then you know what else I would do? This is the other weird thing too. I would talk in my sleep. I have never before talked in my sleep, and I have not since talked in my sleep. But when I was pregnant, I would talk in my sleep. It was so weird.
I don't think I've ever talked in my sleep, at least not that anybody's ever told me. I don't know.
Maybe they're just being too nice.
I talk enough during the daytime. It wouldn't surprise me if I did. Or maybe I get all my talking done already during the day. But anyways, with the insomnia, I know I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning at least, and I have to be up at 6:30 every morning. And I know you had a late night last night.
I did.
Granted, you had a reason to be out. Me, I was just
home.
Very
good reason.
I was up watching Doctor Who at midnight.
I'd still count that as a good reason, though. That counts.
I know. It's really not like I could have watched it at any other time, of course, right? Also, I was binge watching Sabrina, the new one on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't gotten the chance.
Getting off topic here. It's way different from the TV show, but it's pretty good. But yeah, anyways, getting back to our topic of insomnia, we deal with a lot of different topics here on Momnesia that are important to all moms. So all right, before we dig into our topic, maybe I should, any new listeners out there that haven't heard our podcast before, aren't familiar with Momnesia, mothering like a mofo. First of all, mofo does not stand for what you think it stands for. What it actually stands for is moms overcoming fundamental obstacles. So as moms, we deal with all sorts of different things all the time that seem like they should be simple, but end up causing us to have a lot of issues. So we just want to address them and just make sure that other moms know you're not the only one going through these issues. We all have issues that we deal with at different times through stages of being a mom. You are not alone. That's our number one thing. You are not alone. Other moms out there are dealing with the same stuff you deal with day in and day out. And we just want to be that voice to bring that to you and let you know it's okay. Whatever you're going through, it is okay.
Build a community.
Yeah, build a community. Talk to other moms. And that's one of the ways that we ended up starting this show was just because I was talking about the topic of Momnesia, baby brain. And for those who aren't familiar, where you start to forget things just randomly, things that should be so simple. All of a sudden your brain just decides to just drop it out the ear, and you can't remember why you walked into a room or whatever. And that's something all moms deal with. I brought this up to a couple other moms that I was trying to get in on my show Common Grounds. And one of the moms was like, I didn't even know that was a thing until my fourth child, right? She's she'd experienced it with all four of her pregnancies and kids, but she never realized it was a thing for all moms. She just thought she was losing her mind.
And I think we were very surprised too when she brought it up, and we're like, "How have you had 4 kids and you don't know about this?"
Well, she knew that she was forgetting things.
The word for it.
Yeah, but she just did not realize this was something that happens to all moms. It's not just one person. So if you have a Momnesia moment, this is something that we do on our podcast is we try to each talk about sometime during the week that we've forgotten something recently that seemed really simple and yet for some reason totally escaped our minds, whether it's forgetting to pick your kid up at school or, pack lunch or whatever. Leaving your kid at home, like forgetting who's watching your kid. Chris has got a great story about that. Oh, yeah. But yeah, if you want to give us a call and share your stories, our phone number is 630-230-1744. Again, that's 630-230-1744. Or you can just comment on our Facebook Live on Evolution Pop. We'd love to hear from you guys. And Krista, do you have, just throwing on the spot here, since I mentioned Momnesia moments, you got any recent ones?
I think I have one that involved you.
Oh yeah, go ahead, tell that one. That's
that was funny. So we have a mutual friend who we enjoy getting together about once a month for pancake breakfasts. And Jinx and I got together last Monday to discuss a separate podcast that she and I are hosting together called Orchata. So look for that coming soon. But besides the point, I know I mentioned to her, I said, hey, we're all getting together on Sunday for pancakes. And me not realizing that I didn't put her in the group chat until like the day before saying, oh, hey, is 11 o'clock okay for everybody tomorrow?
Yeah.
I literally forgot to put her in the chat, and she goes, how am I just seeing this now? And I'm like,
I thought
I had Momnesia.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, you had mentioned it like last week when I saw you on Monday or Tuesday or whatever day that was. Yep. And I was like, did you send me something? And I'd really forget. I was like thinking I had a Momnesia moment and totally like just forgot that you had said something to me. And next thing I know, or then I see that and I was like, so I missed an entire group conversation on this and all these posts. I'm like, how did I not even notice these text messages? And I'm like,
it started that way before you.
Yeah. And she's like, oh yeah, no, she's like, no, it wasn't you. I just added you to the group. So yeah, thanks for making me really feel like I was losing my mind. I was,
I'm sorry.
So that's both of our, at least like that was one instance where I wasn't having the Momnesia. It was you, but it was both of us feeling like I felt like I had it. I was like, what is going on? So yeah, so definitely it's something all of us can relate to. I'm like me, I get Momnesia so much I forget that I forget things.
You forget that you have a story to tell.
Oh yeah, I had a story and now I can't remember what it was. No. Luckily, it's not that I've forgotten my child at school anytime recently. So far this year that hasn't happened. Yeah, no, not forgotten her. It's just like you try to arrange somebody else picking her up. I've gone to school to pick her up on days when her dad usually picks her up, forgetting that it was his day to pick her up. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's Wednesday." So yeah,
the days just meld together.
Yes, they do. It just kind of all goes into one. So again, that's just a little introduction to what Momnesia is. And we really hope that a lot of moms out there get something out of this. We want to try and help and bring community. So if you are listening, like I said, and you have a topic that you want to talk about, you can always email us at momnesiamotheringlikeamofo@gmail.com. I believe that's what it is, or it's momnesia@gmail.com.
I think it's momnesiamofo@gmail.com.
That's right. Momnesia Mofo, MOMNEIS or NESIAMOFO@gmail.com.
Or Facebook.
Or Facebook. You can find us on Facebook. That might be easier. Or, of course, you can tweet me at Jinx Scott.
And mine is Krista Garza, so... Yeah, you can look me up on Twitter or Facebook as well. Yeah,
because we want to hear from you guys. We want to know what topics are relevant to you, what you want us to talk about more, what you want to hear more about, and deal with all of that. So digging in a little bit to today's topic, or at least for just an introduction to this, because we do need to take a commercial break soon. But just to get started on this, Momnesia, or I mean not Momnesia, Insomnia.
See, here we go.
Here we go. Now, one of the things that causes the Momnesia in the first place is the lack of sleep. And you know when you have a new baby that you're going to be dealing with a loss of sleep because you're going to be up at all hours of the night with the baby. That's expected. What you don't realize is that is just going to keep going throughout your life, because there's always going to be something with dealing with your kids that's going to keep you up at night. There's different stresses and things like that. So what we're going to try and talk about today are the different things that cause insomnia, and also tips on how to deal with the insomnia, how to help overcome it. And then also, some extenuating things that might be causing insomnia, like anxiety and depression. So we're going to be talking about that. That we're also going to bring up like some signs of that for in your kids too, because I think insomnia is something that happens to kids too, as well as anxiety and depression for sure. So it's always good to be able to dig in, or to know what signs to look out for as a parent. But the reason we're dealing with this as moms is because women are more likely to have insomnia. It's just scientific fact. Men do have it too. It's just women are more likely to. Part of that is because of different hormones that women deal with, especially during pregnancy and postpartum, or even menopause, or having your period can affect your sleep cycle too. Because sometimes you sleep more, and sometimes you got that extra energy, and so you can't sleep. And it's women have all sorts of weird hormones to deal with, as well as postpartum depression, of course, affecting sleep. Mood disorders, of course, women are more likely to have those as well. And be more vulnerable. Anxiety and depression can make you more vulnerable to sleep problems as well, and also the chemicals in your brain. Again, that's all hormonal kind of things that even if you're not a mom, you might be dealing with too. So as women, or just as a person in general, we all have different things that we're dealing with. These are not just mom like only kind of things, topics. And also with being a new mom, the other thing is caregiver responsibilities. I think
societal pressure.
Yeah. Well, caregiver responsibilities, who's going to get up and take care of the baby in the middle of the night? That's something that, to help with that, parents can talk about before the baby's born is, mom's going to be recovering from a major trauma to her body. As beautiful as childbirth is, right, and as lovely as your child is, it is a trauma in your body. So there's a healing time and process. So dads, try to be there for mom, let her get all the rest she needs. And hopefully it doesn't disrupt either of your sleep schedules too much. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back soon. And when we come back, we are going to talk about some of the different reasons and things like postpartum depression, how that happens and causes insomnia for new moms, as well as us in general. But we're going to talk about that when we come back. Thanks for joining us here, and we'll be right back here with Momnesia on Evolution Pop.
Have you ever walked into a room and just forgotten why you were there, or what you were doing, or who you were talking to?
You are listening to Common Grounds, or not Common Grounds. You are listening to Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo.
Tune in to Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo, Mondays at 1 with Krista and Jinx, as they discuss everything they've forgotten they know about parenting.
I think that right there is live on air. It's your Momnesia moment.
And maybe you can share your stories too. Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo, Mondays at 1 on Evolution Pop.
Yeah, welcome back to Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo. And I'm your host, Jinx Scott, along with my co-host.
I'm Krista Garza. How's everybody doing today?
We're still waiting for Jada to get here and join this conversation. But we're going to keep it going. Again, if anybody wants to chime in with their topics or questions or what you've dealt with Momnesia, our phone number is 630-230-1744. Again, that's 630-230-1744. Or feel free to comment on our Facebook Live. So before we went on break, we were talking about insomnia, right? And how we deal with that as moms, as women especially, are more prone to that. But especially when in postpartum, everybody hears about postpartum depression. One of the causes of that, or maybe symptoms of this, is insomnia, right? So some of the things that cause this is all of a sudden you are having an irregular sleep pattern, right? You have your normal sleep, and then once you have a baby, you're all of a sudden dealing with a different change in routine. You're constantly getting woken up and going back to sleep and woken up, and you're in a darker room during the day because, putting babies down for nap or keeping it calm and quiet. And then at night you got the lights on because you're up with the baby. So
and you don't want to break that REM sleep either.
Yeah.
Like when you break the REM sleep, it's a lot harder on your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you're dealing with the loss of sleep, and these habit changes, right, are actually perpetuating your sleeplessness because you're trying to adjust your sleep schedule to the baby's schedule to make it easier for taking care of your baby. Mm-hmm. But this actually perpetuates your sleeplessness because now you're getting used to those intervals and not getting the deep sleep that you need, which is going to cause you to feel more anxious, right? And when you feel more anxious, you have more trouble sleeping. So it's like feeds into each other, and it's a really frustrating cycle that we get into a lot as new moms or new dads too. I would assume this happens to them as well. And then you're dealing with that anxiety, and then you go to bed and you're thinking about all the things that go wrong. And how many moms out there have laid in bed at night and you're trying to sleep, but you're listening for your baby to breathe, or like those slightest, like different sounds coming from the room that sound unusual, right?
All the time.
I don't even know at what age that stops. It's like there's
it never does. I still do.
Yeah, it's like the slightest thing wrong from your child, and you wake up in the middle of the night. It's just how we are. And but anyways, things like this, it can disrupt our internal clock. So we got to try to find a way to keep that normalized. Part of that is getting help from your significant other with taking turns with taking care of the baby. Finding time where you can get a solid at least 4 hours of sleep, I think, at least, if not a full 8 hours, at least a good 4 hours, I think, so that you can get some good REM sleep. Also, there's different things you can do to help you go to sleep. Now, when you have a baby, it's hard to know when you're going to be going to bed, right? But one of the things that you can try to do is try to keep, electronics off, anything with a bright light, like your cell phone, your TV. Try reading a book or talking to somebody. I think even just having a conversation with a friend on the phone, there's the thing. We don't talk to each other often enough. We're too busy texting and everything. But maybe having a conversation on the phone, that might be a good time to connect with people and reach out.
Also, your baby likes to hear your voice, even if it is something that you're not necessarily talking to them. They like the rhythm and the sound of your voice. So that's a really good suggestion too.
Yeah. So the rhythm it's soothing for them, to hear that. And also later on, it's going to help them out with forming words and stuff like that. The more they hear you talk, the more easier it's going to be for them to learn to speak and form words themselves. Just my daughter, prime example, she started speaking 30 words by the time she was 1. Oh, yeah. But
same. I get comments all the time about how my daughter is so articulate and things like that, and I'm like, because I never baby talked her. She's always around adults. She's an only kid, so she's around adults a lot more. So she learned very early to articulate.
Oh yeah, and I just talk all the time. So my daughter is so used to hearing me talk. That's why I'm good for the radio.
Yeah.
So another thing. When parents are sleep deprived, one of the good things is that for the most part, they're usually able to fall asleep or return to sleep quickly, right? Because they're so sleep deprived. Their new parents are usually able to fall back to sleep quickly. But if you find yourself not able to do that, that could be a sign of postpartum depression. So you want to keep an eye on that. And if that keeps occurring, it can cause other health problems and stuff. So you should seek help, whether it's talking to your pediatrician, because we're more likely, let's be honest, to take our child in for their pediatric appointments and checkups than we are to go and make an appointment for ourselves to go to the doctor. Cheers. So you can talk to your pediatrician about this too. Let them know you're having trouble sleeping and that you're worried about it, or ask them what you should be concerned about. And they're most likely going to be able to help you out in some way, shape, or form. So make sure you're talking to your pediatrician or somebody about that, especially if you're having difficulty returning to sleep, even though you're exhausted, and if it's lasting more than a few weeks, right? So that's a sign that you really need to start talking to a professional about it. So there's a bunch of different, you don't have to think about, there's different treatments. You don't have to worry about medication. I think a lot of times people are like, oh no, I don't want to be on sleeping pills or whatever because I got to take care of my child. No, there's other things that you can do besides that. One of the things is cognitive behavioral therapy, right? So because we're dealing with all these stressors and anxiety, one of the things that you can do to help you get back on track with sleep is to give yourself some different ways to change your behaviors, right? So that's what cognitive behavioral therapy is all about. You can go to a specialist about this, or you can look up some stuff online, right? Everything's online these days. So you can look up different ways to deal with this. But basically, you can't really change the things that are stressing you out, right? They're going to be there, but you can change how you respond to them. So that's what the cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT is going to do. It's going to help you respond differently so that you can rationalize it differently and change your behaviors in response to those things that are stressing you out. I don't know. Do you deal with any of that, Krista?
Insomnia? Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. What I've found that helps for me is you can actually look up like guided meditations and like sleep hypnoses and things like that on YouTube. And I will just put those on very quietly and just, lay there and listen to it. And I find that the noise helps me go to sleep. So white noise is another big thing. I know it was like a big thing for my daughter too. She enjoyed having something going on in the background, whether, it's her television or some music, things like that, that helps her to relax and go to sleep. So
yeah, I think that's good. It's just important not to have it obviously too loud, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's another thing that we can do. Also, like I said, working with a pediatrician, that's going to help you.
Be open and honest.
Yeah.
Too many of us, you know what I think we all do? We all internalize it because it's like you said before, how we're more apt to, put our kid first, right? Because you think, they're so helpless, but like, you can't help them unless you help yourself. If you're not getting the sleep that you need and you're sleep deprived, you're not going to be able to take care of your kid. You're going to lose your temper. You're gonna have fits of crying and upsetness. Like you need to be open and honest. And too many people, I think, are not out of fear of stigma, out of fear of feeling like a failure. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's okay to not be okay. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and we do have a Facebook listener out there popping in with thank you, West, for that, saying Jody Whiteley has the best meditation videos. So I guess that's something for you guys to look up is Jody Whiteley to see some good meditation videos. That's another thing I was going to suggest, too, as a tip is don't ruminate, right? A lot of us wait until the end of the night, you're laying down in bed, and that's when you start thinking about every single issue through the day, every problem that you're going through, all the stuff you have to do the next day, what you didn't finish today. So many times we wait till bedtime to do that, right? So one of the other things that we can do instead is to try and be attentive to everything and everybody during the day and take a specific time period during the day that we set aside to just focus on this, write down what's bothering us, what we want to work on, and what our next step solutions are. So what are your concerns and what are your next step solutions? What do you think you can do about it to resolve it? You want to do this early evening, right? At least. You don't want to do it too close to bedtime. You want to at least write it down so that way you've at least addressed it already. You've written down your possible potential solutions to it. And hopefully now by the time you get to bed, you've already taken care of that, set it aside. And that's one less thing on your plate at bedtime, right? I think that's another tip. We shouldn't eat before bedtime. Speaking of plates, I don't know. I'm so guilty of getting up and getting snacks at bedtime. Oh my gosh! And then I complain to my daughter for the same thing. It's bedtime, and she's like, "I'm hungry." Like it's bedtime. You had all this time to eat, and she eats nonstop. So. Seriously. All right. Again, you're listening in case you're just tuning in. This is Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo, with our first live broadcast here on Evolution Pop. If you want to call us, our number here is 630-230-1744. We'd love to hear from you and see what you have to say on this topic, dealing with insomnia as parents. And we're going to talk about some different tips and things on how to manage your insomnia. You can also comment on our Facebook Live on Evolution Pop. And you can listen to us at evolutionpop.com or on our Facebook live stream. So some other things, obvious one is was just talking about you probably shouldn't eat before bed, but also staying away from
Guilty.
things like caffeine and alcohol, tobacco right before bed.
Also
right?
very guilty.
Yeah. They're all stimulants. They're all going. I don't care if you think wine makes you sleepy. It does make me sleepy, but it's not going to be a restful sleep. It's going to be a restless sleep, and you're not going to get any benefit from that. You're not going to get that full REM sleep if it's a restless sleep. So those are some other things to keep in mind. I'm a high energy person. I'm so high energy. It's hard for me to wind down in general. So I try not to have any caffeine after 3:00, if that even. Usually I try to cut it off earlier than that, like 1 or 2. But sometimes I end up going a little bit later in the day. Or sometimes you just need that little extra boost. Or I'm a social coffee drinker. If I am around people drinking coffee, I am more likely to go ahead and get a cup myself. So no matter what time of day it is, even if it's 6:00 at night, sometimes I don't even know how much the caffeine actually affects me because I don't usually need it. So it's more just just a social thing sometimes. And
I don't know.
I like the taste of it. I used to not until I had a kid. Now I love the taste of it. But yeah, like how your tastes change when you have a child.
It's true.
But yeah, so that's one thing, right? So
if you were to
obviously,
test my blood right now, it would probably be coffee.
it'd be like half coffee.
Half caffeine.
I had like I don't know how many cups of coffee. I think like 2 cups of coffee this morning and a hot chocolate, like dark
my
chocolate.
gosh.
So
how are you not bouncing off the walls right now? I mean,
because it's been since like 6:30 this morning to 1:30 this afternoon. That's over 7 hours. I don't think that's that much. 2 cups of coffee and maybe 3, and a cup of hot chocolate. But anyways, another thing is it's creating boundaries, right? So we want to separate our daytime things from our nighttime. You don't need a buffer in between to help you between all that activity of the day and your sleep. So just a wind down period. So one of the things I like to do is go to bed. I've got one of those Himalayan salt lamps. I like it not because they say they have all these other properties and allergies and all that crap, but that's not the reason I have it. I like the soft, like orangey glow from it. It's like a reddish orange. I find it very soothing at night and calming. So I don't know if it actually helps me sleep or not or wind down, but that's one of the things I like about it.
I can see that because they say the more like red or orange light is supposed to help us like signal to our bodies like, okay, it's time to like calm down. And that's why they say to like turn off your phones and stuff too, because your phone has more of the blue light, and the blue light signals to our body like, okay, it's time to be awake.
Yep. And I actually usually have a filter on my phone that makes it the more orangey in general, but I use it all day long instead of just at night. And every once in a while, something will, like when I put a video or something on, it turns it off. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? Why is it so bright? Like,
This isn't what I'm used to.
Yes. Bright light. Okay. Anyways, so your wind down period. So find that time. So you can disengage from your day, and you're not supposed to work on any projects at this time, which contradicts something else that I'm going to bring up in a second, right? So it's the suggestion is don't try to finish your laundry, don't try to get the lunches done for tomorrow. Just make sure all that's done beforehand, and this is the time you're going to maybe sit and read a book. Talk to somebody, because that's another thing is talking to your significant other, just having pillow talk, that time to just like kind of connect and everything, which would be good for your relationship too, right? So think of these relationships too, because if you're getting good sleep, that's going to help your relationships with both your kids and your significant other improve, because you are going to be in a better mood, right? And have a little less anxiety once you have better sleep. But also having that communication, that the pillow talk time, having some, like going over your day and the different things and just getting it out there, finding out where each other are at mentally, like what were you dealing with today or what's been stressing you out? Maybe not stressing out, but, just a conversation and stuff. Some things that we start to put aside. And it helps if you both go to bed at the same time. I know a lot of people go to bed at different times, but maybe that'll encourage people to go, to at least try, even if it's not both of you going to sleep, at least to have that conversation time period for you to connect, right?
Yep. I do that all the time. Like, I love doing that and having that time. Even to, like, because I'm the kind of person, like, I've always tried, journaling and things like that, and, trying to get it out there. But like the issue that I always run into is I always want like the back and forth, like I want, I don't know if I want to call it instant gratification, but like I want the feedback, right? Mm-hmm. I want the opinion. This is how I'm feeling about X. What should I do about it? Oh, well, you should do Y. Like that's me. And I'm sure my husband gets annoyed with me because I literally like I cannot sleep unless I dump it all out there. This is my before sleep dump. Like I just this and this and this and that and that and that and that. And then what do you think about that? And and then like he'll fall asleep on me because I'm just like still going.
But it's like it's therapeutic. I think it's something that we need to do every once in a while, just to get it out, and it helps you feel more comfortable and
not inside your head all the time.
Just getting it out there.
Yep.
And sometimes things that are bothering us inside and we think are major stressors and like, oh my gosh, how am I going to deal with this? Is just too much for me to take. Sometimes once you start speaking things out loud, they don't seem so scary and they're like, why am I really worried about this? I mean, this doesn't seem, when you bring it up and talk to somebody else, or maybe they'll point something out about it that you didn't realize. So that's another thing to keep in mind when dealing with this stuff. Or why it's a good time to talk to your significant other, make time for that. Another thing that we're going to get into a little bit more when we come back from our next break is also checking for mood disorders, right? So sometimes the insomnia and the lack of sleep, it can be a first symptom or noticeable one of a mood problem. So it could be a sign of anxiety or depression. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back with that different symptoms to look for and some different things that can help. Krista and I have both dealt with anxiety before. I know a lot of people deal with depression. So we're going to talk about that when we come back here with Momnesia here on Evolution Pop.
Have you ever walked into a room and just forgotten why you were there or what you were doing or who you were talking to?
You are listening to Common Grounds, or not Common Grounds. You're listening to Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo.
Tune in to Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo, Mondays at 1 with Krista and Jinx as they discuss everything they've forgotten they know about parenting.
I think that right there, live on air, it's your Momnesia moment.
And maybe you can share your stories too. Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo, Mondays at 1 on Evolution Pop.
And welcome back to Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo. I'm your host, Jinx Scott. Along in the studio with me today is Krista Garza.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So we've been talking about Momnesia, and Momsomnia today. There's a Momnesia moment. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It's only been 40 minutes, right? So we are
talk a bit about Momnesia, though.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, our favorite topic. All the things we forget about as mom. So dealing with insomnia, this is something, like I was saying, that not just moms deal with, dads deal with this too. Women in general, I think, are really susceptible, as we mentioned before, to insomnia, just because it has a lot to do with mood disorders and hormone imbalances a lot of times, which can trigger from depression or cause depression. So we were talking just before break about how the lack of sleep and changing in your sleep cycle is one of the first signs of that you're dealing with depression or anxiety. So we're going to dig a bit into that. Again, we just want to remind you, if you want to give us a call and join the topic, you're welcome to. Our number here is 630-230-1744. If you want to chime in with anything you're dealing with or how you've dealt with insomnia or depression, anxiety, any of this, or if you have a Momnesia moment you want to share, please give us a call, 630-230-1744. You can also message us on our Momnesia Mothering Like a Mofo Facebook page too. So if you want to reach out to us, we'd be glad to hear from you. So getting back onto the topic here, we were talking before about what causes insomnia, tips for how to deal with insomnia. Right now, we're going to talk about one of the symptoms that causes insomnia or can be a factor of insomnia that I think all of us need to really focus on. And if you are dealing with this and have these symptoms, you should get help. And this is depression and anxiety. I'll be the first to say I did not realize like some of the stuff that I was doing was a symptom of anxiety before, because I have a habit of shutting down and not talking about things when I'm like, I can just deal with this on my own. I just need to process it and go over it. And I don't talk to anybody about it. I just feel like I need to do it on my own. Or at least that's how I've been in the past. And then I realized I started reading up on anxiety things and I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing is I'm shutting down. And I've learned the hard way that actually talking to other people about what I'm feeling and going through has been so therapeutic and helpful. And you realize you're not the only one dealing with it. And you find a quicker solution to your problems than if you just keep it to yourself and just stuck in that circle and that endless cycle of, I just need to figure out how to fix this one thing and then everything will be okay. But not telling anybody else what's going through your head so that they can help you with that, right? With that process. And maybe you could have found a solution that was right in front of your face, but you were neglecting it because you didn't open up. So anyways, that's my personal experience with anxiety. But just to get to some of the symptoms of anxiety, I'll just go with that since I already started talking about that, right? So it's persistent worrying and about different things, right, that are out of proportion to what they actually are. Overthinking things. Always thinking of what the worst case scenario. Now that's not me. I don't really think about, well, I take that back. Before I make any decision in life, I always think, what's the worst that could happen if I do that? And if I'm willing to live with the consequences, I will go ahead and do it.
Oh, right? I'm the opposite.
But yeah, so that's how I deal with it. Me, it's more, I've got to fix this myself. Like that's my anxiety. Like it's nobody else's problem. I can deal with this. I don't want to burden anybody else with this problem. The other thing is perceiving things as being threatening, even if they aren't. I haven't had that issue. I don't know if you had, Krista, but and difficulty handling uncertainties. Like, so things that aren't sure, that maybe a little bit more. If I'm not sure what's going to happen, sometimes I can lock up too, with indecisiveness. So, and that's another thing, being indecisive and being afraid to make the wrong decision.
Don't ask me to make a decision on anything, even if it's like, do you want tacos or pizza? Like, I can't. Decisions,
So even the simplest decisions become like the biggest like hurdle and to jump over, because all of a sudden it's like, I have to decide, and what if I make the wrong decision? Even though it's inconsequential in the whole scheme of things, right? It's not a butterfly effect, right? Choosing a taco over a burrito is not going to be like the end of the world. Let's hope. Okay. Now taco salad. Just kidding. All right. So
I think that's more for horchata.
Yes. There you go. So inability to set aside, all those worries, not being able to relax and feeling restless, always feeling keyed up and on edge. I'm just always full of energy. I wouldn't say that I'm restless or not able to relax. I can relax. But sometimes I'm do the opposite. I shut down. So
that's what I was going to say too, is like, it's hard because like I do this thing where I can relax, I can sit there and enjoy myself, but like, I don't know, my body gets restless. Like when I'm really tired, my body literally gets like achy. I don't know if this makes any sense, but like, it's like my body just hurts until I like lay down.
I could see that. Yeah, I can understand that. That's another symptom though of depression though, is body aches that are out of nowhere, that you don't really, they're unexplained, right? You get back pain and headaches out of nowhere. So that's actually a symptom of depression or a sign of depression. This is for anxiety. This is one you'll find funny. Difficulty concentrating or the feeling that your mind goes blank. I think it's momnesia in general, like something we deal with as moms all the time. I was talking before, like a lot of new parents deal with, insomnia, especially postpartum depression, but we deal with insomnia as parents of older kids. Like my daughter's 10, yours is 8. They're older, but we still like worrying so much about their school schedules, getting them places on time. How are they doing? Dealing with bullying, all the different things that you deal with as a mom that you worry about with your child. And I'm sure that's not going to go away when she's in high school and going out with friends at night,
For sure.
Still, goes away to college, I'll be up worrying about her all night.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
I'll never stop.
Oh, yeah. So physical signs of anxiety, of course, trouble sleeping, fatigue, muscle tension, muscle aches, right? Trembling, feeling twitchy, nervousness, being easily startled, right? Sweating, nausea, diarrhea. I sound like that Pepto-Bismol commercial now.
But you know what? These are real signs. They're all real signs.
Yep.
This is all things that we've all dealt with at least some sort of combination.
Yep. I think it's, as a parent, you deal with a lot of this in general. It's just a matter of when it gets out of control, when you feel like it's paying attention to it and realizing what's normal anxiety level and what's a little bit too much and causing your body stress, and when you should start seeking help. And, sometimes, the best option is going to a therapist, right? And getting help from that. But even talking to a friend that's a good listener, or, a group like us with Momnesia, talking to other moms that, and seeing what they've gone through and how they've dealt with it and what advice they can give you. Sometimes just having that connection and talking to other moms or dads is going to help you out. So I definitely, my biggest thing that I like to push is talk to the people that reach out, because there's somebody that I guarantee you, if you know any other moms, I guarantee you they have dealt with the same issues and can relate, and you are not alone.
Exactly.
Feel free to reach out to us if you want. If you need someone to talk to, if nothing else, reach out to us. momnesiamofo@gmail.com, or at Jinx Scott if you want to reach me on Twitter, and Krista Garza for Twitter for Krista. But yeah, we want to hear from you. We want to, if you need us to be your voice or your ear, listening ear, we are glad to do that.
Absolutely.
Also with anxiety, our kids can deal with that too. So that's another thing to watch out for with your kids, right? So the things that cause them anxiety are obviously performance at school, sports. They're worried about family members, right? Especially if they have a family member that's really ill or far away, they might worry about them. Parent in the military kind of thing. Some kids stress about being on time. Not my kid, unfortunately. She could care less about being on time. And obviously, with all the different things going on in the world in the U.S. today, with the different drills and things they have at school now, there's a lot of anxiety-inducing things happening to our kids.
And that's crazy to me that like I didn't even realize that was like a thing. Like, I think we talked about this on another episode when we were doing this on our own.
We did, yeah.
Where
on one of our pre-recorded podcasts.
Yeah, which
you can find on Spreaker.com soon. We'll have those up there soon. Yes.
But I know we touched on this where she was dealing with like hearing all the bad news going on in the world, and hearing about that, and it was affecting her. And it took a really serious conversation to like get her to open up on that. So,
I know, and I think that's one thing that parents don't realize too. Without talking, you don't think about it. You try to shelter your kids from all the bad news. You don't realize they're still going to hear it, whether it's on the news, on the TV, on the radio, something's mentioned, somebody else in passing mentions it. And then these drills at school, like the active shooter drills and stuff, whatever codes they decide to use, the kids are wondering why they're having to hide in a closet, with the lights out. So there's a lot of questions and uncertainty and things going on with our kids today. So I think it's important that us as parents all open up that conversation with our kids too. To give them a chance to speak up about their concerns and let us know what's on their mind, so they're not dealing with all of that anxiety on their own. Sometimes talking about it makes it less scary, right? We don't want to scare kids by bringing it up, but sometimes you need to talk about it to make it less the evil monster in the room kind of thing, hiding in the corner.
Exactly.
So it's the way that this may translate in our kids is the anxieties is excessive worry, right? Or feeling anxious about whether it's about fitting in, whether they are perfectionists. They try to redo things if they're not perfect the first time. Again, that's not something my daughter does, but she thinks my daughter automatically thinks everything she does is perfect. I don't know.
My daughter gets very upset when she doesn't do something right the first time. And I have constantly had to reiterate with her, it's okay to learn and practice, but I don't know if it's anxiety or she just gets impatient. Like she wants to do it. She wants to be able to like hear, okay, do da da da. Here's how you do it. And then she wants to be able to copy that and do it right the first time. And I've had to try to explain to her, like, relax, it's okay. You can practice. You can get better.
Yeah, I think that's something too. Like Veronica, if she doesn't get it right the first time, then I'm not good at this, so I'm just not going to do it.
My God,
and I'm like, no, you're never going to get better if you don't try. So trying to get your kids out of that mindset. Exactly. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic too. Another thing, spending excessive time doing homework, lack of confidence, always trying to get approval from everybody. They need a lot of reassurance about their performance. They have frequent stomach aches and other physical complaints, and avoid going to school or avoid social situations. Those are all symptoms that, with excessive worry, that you want to watch out for with your kid, and possibly seek a therapist, to get them a little bit of help with dealing with that anxiety, right? So a little bit of anxiety is normal, right? Everybody's going to have at least a little bit. It's when it gets excessive. So having conversations with your kids and being open and paying attention, being present, you'll know when something's not normal for your child, right? Mm-hmm. So that's another thing that you want to look on. So, and if you need to, finding help with that. So if you feeling depressed or irritable, definitely seek help. So we want to, that's that. And then just really quick, depression, a lot of the symptoms are similar to anxiety. But there's also the added feeling of sadness, right? Crying for no reason. You feel empty, hopeless, having angry outbursts, irritability, that can deal with anxiety too, where you're dealing with something and just out of nowhere, like everything just all of a sudden overwhelms you and you shout, and like, or you just get easily irritated. Loss of interest in things that you used to find fun, different activities and hobbies and things that you used to enjoy. All of a sudden you have no interest in those. Obviously sleep disturbances like insomnia or sleeping too much. That's another thing. If you can't get out of bed because all you want to do is sleep and avoid the world. The lack of energy and being tired all the time, even, it takes too much energy even to do simple tasks. Reduced appetite or increased craving. So it can go either way. You're eating too much to eat your pain away, or you're avoiding food. You just have that I think is the loss of interest in food, right?
Mm-hmm. And an interesting side note to that, I am on a weight loss journey. So my doctor did actually say that, when we are like anxious, our bodies tend to want to hold on to things like the sugars and things like that, and they actually can like solidify in our bodies, and that's not good either.
Yep. So. Oh yeah. Obviously, it's another one: trouble thinking and concentrating, making decisions, remembering things. Yeah. A lot, like I said, a lot of symptoms for anxiety and depression are very similar. So it's just that added. I think anxiety is similar to depression, except depression has that added feeling of sadness and loneliness and hopelessness, like that. It's just a little bit more pressure on your heart, that, and having and especially if it's coupled with suicidal thoughts. So definitely, if you're feeling any of these, definitely seek help. I don't have a number for suicide hotlines or anything like that, but obviously this stuff's easy to look up online this day and age. But like you said, as a parent, you ever need help or, feel like you're dealing with something like all on your own, reach out to other parents, reach out to us. We'd be glad to talk to you too. But anyways, that's pretty much all the time we have for today, or we need to wrap up anyways. And we started a few minutes late, so if we go a few minutes over, it's okay. I'm giving us permission for that.
Yeah, I have to get back to the front
I'm not
desk.
going. Oh, yes, Krista does. So, Krista, thank you for coming in with me today.
Of course.
Krista works here at Illinois Media School, which is where we're broadcasting from. So you can see her happy face sitting at the front desk here. And
at any time.
Yep. And I'm your co-host, Jinx Scott. If you're looking to check out more Momnesia, we do have one episode up already on Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com. If you want to check out Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo on there, along with some of my other podcasts that I do. And we'll be uploading some other episodes we've pre-recorded soon. So you'll get those for your listening pleasure. And we got some great interviews and stuff we've done with other parents. So look forward to that. And thank you for joining us here on Momnesia, Mothering Like a Mofo. Signing off, Jinx Scott and
Krista Garza. We'll see you next time.